a third party?
I think it's ridiculous to start a third party. We have a tremendous success with the Republican Party. The Democrats have lost their way, but it's always been a two-party system. And I think starting a third party just adds to confusion. It really seems to have been developed for two parties. Third parties have never worked. So he can have fun with it, but I think it's ridiculous.
This morning, on the heels of President Trump signing his massive domestic policy bill into law, his former close ally, Elon Musk, announcing the formation of a new political party. Musk, the world's richest person, taking to his social media site X to say, "We live in a one-party system, not a democracy. Today, the America Party is formed to give you back your freedom." Musk, who was President Trump's top campaign donor, has been feuding with the president over the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, which the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office says will add more than $3 trillion to the national debt over the next 10 years. Musk has referred to the legislation as a debt slavery bill and had been teasing a new political party for days. It's unclear if Musk has officially filed paperwork for the new party. Tesla CEO did not respond to questions from NBC News seeking clarity about yesterday's announcement.
The stock market's at an all-time high.
For his part, President Trump has been celebrating the bill. The legislation extends the tax cuts from his first term, reduces taxes on tips and overtime pay, and provides funds for his immigration priorities. It also makes some of the biggest cuts in history to social safety net programs like Medicaid and food assistance.
Before I let you go, it's not a big secret that you had your differences with Elon Musk when he was working in the administration. He announced this weekend that he is starting a new political party. Does that worry the Trump administration?
Look, the principles of Doge were very popular. I think if you looked at the polling, Elon was not. So I believe that the boards of directors at his various companies wanted him to come back and run those companies, which he is better at than anyone. So I imagine that those board of directors did not like this announcement yesterday and will be encouraging him to focus on his business activities, not his political activities.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So you got to talk about Elon Musk, who is making news in political circles because he is allegedly starting a third party called the America Party. Now, I want to talk about this because I think that a more appropriate name for this party would be the Revenge Party, because that's the only reason that he's doing it, which I think is the primary reason why this is probably not going to be successful. If revenge is actually what he's trying to get at, which I believe that's the main reason why he's starting this. And I want to explain it. I want to talk about it because a lot of people are freaking out about this, and they're claiming that this is going to make it easier for Democrats to win the House and to win some Senate seats in the midterm elections because Elon's party is going to take away votes from Republicans. Now, I want to pump the brakes on that theory because I actually don't believe that it is guaranteed that Elon's party is going to appeal to Republicans more than center-left Democrats. And I'm going to explain my theory here and what my gut feeling tells me in regards to why this is probably going to backfire, because I don't think that Elon is thinking clearly about this. He has not shown himself to be a very good political thinker, okay? And I know that Elon is a very smart guy. When it comes to organizations, when it comes to technical stuff, when it comes to tech, when it comes to space, traditional entrepreneurship, amazing. Politics, not so much, because politics is a relationship-driven business, okay? And Elon found out that although the politicians are, in fact, prostitutes, they're escorts. They're not street hookers, right? Elon tried to openly buy the Republican Party and the Trump administration, and he found out that that's not how it works, right? And I think he's going to find out that that's not how it works when it comes to this America Party, right? Or so-called America Party, because hookers, they don't mind being openly bought and sold, right? Because, again, they're street hookers, okay? But escorts, on the other hand, they can be bought, but there's a little bit of a finesse to it, right? There's more discreetness. And I think that's what Elon failed to recognize. And I think he still fails to recognize that. And I'm going to get deeper into this subject because this is a fascinating topic. So Elon put out his tweet on July 4th. He says, Independence Day is the perfect time to ask if you want independence from the two-party, some would say uniparty system. Should we create the America Party? And then you have him further elaborating. He says, one way to execute on this would be to laser focus on just 2 or 3 Senate seats and 8 to 10 House districts. Given the razor-thin legislative margins, that would be enough to serve as the deciding vote on contentious laws, ensuring that they serve the true will of the people. Yeah, so what Elon is saying here, what he has admitted, and this is, again, part of the reason why I think this is doomed, is that this is not a serious political party in the sense that he is simply just trying to sabotage the midterms because he's upset that he didn't get what he wanted out of the Trump administration. And he's not, again, really trying to break the two-party system. More evidence of this is the fact that he retweeted Scott Adams, who says, if you are an analogy thinker, you compare Musk's new America Party to Ross Perot's third party run and conclude it is bad for Republicans. But that would only be the case if Musk someday backs an American Party candidate for president, and I don't see that in his plan. If Musk only backs individual senators and representatives for his new party, as he has hinted, all he does is give Republicans a new way to get past politics to solutions the country wants and needs, such as deficit reduction. The beta version might be buggy, so no speed bumps. Yeah, so basically, Scott Adams here is saying that he doesn't see Elon backing an American Party candidate for president. And Elon retweeted this, basically implying that Elon, again, doesn't really see this being a thing in 2028, right? It's not so serious that he actually wants to run a candidate for president, which, again, I think backs up my theory that this is being done for revenge purposes only. But he does have some early interest in his new party. Like, for example, the great right-wing conservative, Mark Cuban, right, indicates he wants to become part of Elon Musk's new party, right? So Mark Cuban has expressed interest in this party. Also, another staunch MAGA Trump supporter, Anthony Scaramucci, has expressed interest in Elon Musk's party. Now, again, this is why I'm telling you guys it is a mistake to assume that this is going to appeal to Trump supporters and that Elon is going to pill off Trump supporters and that this is going to help Democrats win because I don't think Elon Musk is politically savvy enough to actually really understand that what he's doing probably is going to backfire. The individuals that have shown early interest in his so-called new party is a center-left Democrat, okay, and a never-Trumper, okay? So that is his constituency. These are not Trump voters, right? And I think, honestly, that's who his party is going to appeal to, which would hurt Democrats, actually, okay? So I want to react to this clip here from Sky News Australia, their reaction to Elon forming his political party. And I'm going to get deeper into this because I really do think that Elon is not thinking very clearly about forming his new party, and it really shows his political ignorance, which honestly is getting astonishing at this point. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Christian, I want to ask you about this news, this breaking news about Elon Musk setting up his own America Party or whatever it is. It's strange, you know, someone should make a film about the Elon Musk-Donald Trump story, but what is this a publicity stunt? Is this serious? Obviously, it's no threat, but what does it actually mean in your opinion, Christian?
I think it doesn't mean very much. Musk gets, I don't know what he does beforehand, if there's a substance involved or not, but he gets on Twitter. This isn't just a one-night thing at 2 a.m. He's been on this for a while, but it's clearly hurt feelings he has with Donald Trump. An independent party, it's probably meaningless. We have a Libertarian Party already in the United States. It's different than the Libertarian movement. The Libertarian Party usually gets a couple of points and takes them away from mostly Republicans. Then usually there's a Green Party Party or some other wacko party that takes a couple points from Democrats. The risk is if this rises to something like Ross Perot, who's a businessman who challenged George H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton in 1992 and took 19% of the vote. There's a dispute among historians whether he took votes equally from both candidates or if, like me, you believe he took most of them from George H.W. Bush and let the Democrats win. But you remember Musk, we're 3 years from the election, and also he comes from Silicon Valley, and most Americans hate Silicon Valley. The idea that a billionaire who's born in South Africa is going to waltz in and tell us how to run the country, this has none of the populism of Ross Perot. The economy is in great shape, unlike 1992, where the 1990 recession was over, but times really weren't that good. Also, that 1992 election came on the heels of 12 years of Republican rule, and people were just ready for a change. They were ready to elect a baby boomer. Bad idea. Anyway, none of those factors are in play here, so I don't think it'll lead to much.
Yeah, I think this guy makes some pretty solid points, to be honest with you. And I think one of the points that I think is particularly fascinating is that Elon decided to start a new party instead of just supporting an already existing infrastructure, right? He claims that his issue is that, well, Republicans are spending too much. Now, I don't actually really believe that that's his real issue. I actually think that Elon's real issue is the fact that the Republicans basically gutted all of the Green New Deal initiatives that were included in the Inflation Reduction Act, which heavily benefited Elon Musk's companies because it was basically a tax incentive to buy American-made EVs. Okay, Tesla is one of the only few American-made EVs, okay? And because of that, it would almost certainly hurt Tesla in the short term, even though Elon has come out and said he doesn't really care that much about it because of the fact that they have automation and other business models with Tesla that aren't so reliant on just pure EV sales and subsidies, which is true, but Elon pretending as if he doesn't care about the green new subsidies from the Inflation Reduction Act is actually not true at all. He actually does care. And the reason why I know this is because I pay attention to what he tweets. Like, for example, he has constantly talked about how rolling back on these clean energy subsidies, in his opinion, is not good for American energy output, especially when you're talking about trying to compete with China. Okay. Like, for example, rolling back on solar, wind, and battery manufacturing is something that he's clearly concerned about. Look at what he put out here. He says grid-scale battery packs allow greater use of existing power plants by storing energy during low demand times and releasing when demand is high. Now, battery production is a part of Tesla's business model. Okay, it is a part of some of his other businesses. Okay, he has energy businesses like Solar City, etc. And he also put this out. He said the latest Senate draft bill will destroy millions of jobs in America and cause immense strategic harm to our country. Utterly insane and destructive. It gives handouts to industries of the past while severely damaging industries of the future, aka so-called clean energy, right? He said this in response to a post about how the Senate bill raises taxes on all wind and solar projects that haven't begun construction today unless they are placed in service by the end of 2027. So basically, he is definitely upset about the green energy rollbacks. Okay, so he can come out here and say whatever he wants about how he doesn't really care, right? No, he definitely he cares, right? He 100% cares. And also on top of that, Elon didn't get his way when it comes to certain picks to lead agencies within the Trump administration. Like, for example, Jared Isaacman, who he wanted to lead NASA. Some, anti-Elon, pro-Trump allies convinced President Trump to take back that nomination, which is apparently what pushed Elon over the edge. Now, I'm not saying these are not legitimate gripes. I think that Elon definitely has legitimate gripes. I just wish he would be honest about his gripes rather than pretending that it's about something that is not. Because if it was really about just spending and the national debt, as he claims, then he should just support the Libertarian Party. Support the Libertarian Party. They already have political infrastructure. You can put more money behind them, and they already have a history of taking away votes from Republicans. But why doesn't he want to support the Libertarian Party? Well, it's not like the Libertarian Party is pro green energy, right? They're not pro subsidies, okay, for so-called clean energy, okay? They're probably not pro a lot of things that Elon actually believes in. Like, for example, back in 2018, he claimed that he's a socialist. He says, by the way, I am actually a socialist, just not the kind that shifts resources from most productive to least productive, pretending to do good while actually causing harm. True socialism seeks greatest good for all. Well, I would argue that capitalism already accomplishes that goal, because if he's concerned about capital going to those that are the most productive, that tends to be how capitalism operates, right? This is why, I don't really buy into these leftist arguments about how it's bad by definition to have inequality within society, when actually I think it's actually overall good that we have inequality, because inequality is what motivates people to innovate, and inequality makes life better for everybody due to the fact that those who are rewarded for their creations through profits, they tend to create innovations that improve the quality of life for everybody in society. And it's important that capital goes into the hands of people who actually are productive with capital, right? So I actually do agree with Elon in regards to where resources should go, but I'm not sure if I agree with the socialism part, right? Because socialism would imply that the government is picking winners and losers, which clearly is something that Elon cares about, even though he claims that he doesn't care about it. I think he kind of does, right? And I think that's why he kind of likes doing business in China, because that type of socialism, Chinese socialism, has heavily benefited Tesla in China, right? And I'm just saying, like, Elon is not doing things that are consistent with what he claims that his goal is, right? If he's talking about debt and spending being the number one thing, then he should have just supported the Libertarian Party, right? If he was serious about that. Because again, he says that, well, I don't want any subsidies. I don't want subsidies for fossil fuel. Well, the Libertarians, they're against that too. They're against any type of government subsidies. And again, if you were really, really, really about that, then the Libertarian Party would be the perfect party. But it's not about that. It's about revenge. And Elon should know this better than anybody. When you start an entrepreneurial venture based off revenge and not actual principle or passion for what you're doing, it typically doesn't really end up well, right? And I just don't think that he's thoroughly thought this through. I think that his desire for revenge is clouding his judgment in regards to how to go about getting what he wants. And he's going to end up essentially hurting himself in the long run, in my opinion, and his companies, more importantly, okay, and the investors in his companies. And that's why when the market opens tomorrow morning, I have to do a lot of hard thinking about diversifying into Tesla's competitors, right? Because he's essentially now making enemies out of both political parties. And that's certainly not going to be good for his companies that are heavily government dependent, okay, in some aspects. So, yeah, I just don't think that this is going to end up well for Elon. But let's continue here.
Now, you mentioned Elon Musk feeling frustrated or disappointed. Is that warranted, do you think, with Donald Trump?
Not really. I think if you had two alpha males in the room, and Musk didn't really seem to know when to leave. The idea you're going to find $2 trillion just of inefficiencies that can be made efficient. Government is inherently inefficient. The American system is designed intentionally to be inefficient, which is what separation of powers really is. And having a Senate, which is, just intended as a place where legislation goes to die. And we've had before this idea, I mentioned Ross Perot, the idea that you can come in and make government run like business. It's not going to happen. Maybe you could squeeze some efficiencies out. And so I think he overstayed his welcome, overplayed his hand, if you will. And really, if you look at his companies, Tesla and SpaceX and X, which used to be Twitter, all of those could really use his attention right now. They could probably benefit from a CEO, especially if you look at Tesla stock, what it's done this year. He should probably be focused on that and just, leave politics to the politicians and to the citizens.
Yeah, I think that this guy, again, makes some decent points about our system, right? And a lot of people don't understand the reason why we have a two-party system is quite literally because of the fact that we have winner-take-all voting, right? In the sense that elections, the incentive structure is to have broad coalitions come together and to try to win elections because it's winner take all. Okay, like second place doesn't get anything. When you look at how our Congress is set up, the reason why we have a two-party system is because that is naturally the result of the way that our elections work. Okay, yes, the Democrats and Republicans rig it against, smaller parties, but it's actually more so the structure of our government that has created the two-party system rather than, Republicans and Democrats rigging it. Now, they do rig it, right? But again, the reason why you don't really have a viable third-party system is because our elections are winner take all. And because they're winner take all, that, again, is another reason why third parties just have not been successful, okay? Funding is not going to get Elon Musk the political influence that he is desiring because he doesn't have the relationship skills in order to get what he wants, right? Like I said at the beginning of this video, politicians are not street hookers, right? They're escorts, okay? There's a certain way you got to kind of go about it. You can't just treat them any type of way, and you can't just be so open about buying politicians and buying elections because nobody likes that, right? Nobody likes to be openly bought and sold. And any candidate running under Elon's America Party, everybody is going to know that, well, this candidate is bought by Elon. He's just a puppet of Elon Musk. He's going to do whatever Elon wants. And people don't like that, right? It's one thing for it to be kind of a, plausible deniability situation. Like, for example, George Soros. If Elon was smart politically, then he would have went about this in a more George Soros-like way, where you're removed from the direct association with any candidate, right? Where it's like, well, everybody knows this person's Soros backed, but at the same time, it's not like it's not in your face, right? Everybody knows that a lot of these woke DAs are backed by Soros, but it's not in your face, right? He's not a major political figure out here making political statements. He's just kind of supporting things behind the scenes, right? Without being the direct face of it, okay? Elon being the direct face of all this because people don't like this type of in-your-face political prostitution, right, that he clearly is engaging in. Where, again, he's trying to openly buy politicians to get them to do what he wants. People are not going to go for that, right? Elon tried to buy the Wisconsin Supreme Court election. That didn't work. He poured a lot of money into Trump's campaign, but I don't think that's the main reason why Trump won, right? I definitely think Elon buying X contributed, but again, I don't think that's the main reason why President Trump won. Look at all the money that Kamala spent, okay? Kamala thoroughly outspent the Trump campaign, but she still lost because money can't buy everything in politics. And that's what people got to understand. I think the left overestimates the influence of money in politics. And I'm not saying that money in politics is not influential, but it's not the end all be all. And the law of diminishing returns still applies, right? At some point, money is not going to buy you more votes, okay? If you don't have the right candidate, okay? If you don't have the right ideology, when you have a system like the current system that we have, which is winner take all, and which, again, Elon, I'm not sure how broad his coalition will actually be. Yeah, there's only so far that money's going to get you. And I really do believe that Elon's true beliefs in what he actually wants is going to appeal more to center-left Democrats than it is Trump supporters. Here's an example. Elon Musk, back in 2022, not that long ago, said assault rifles should, at minimum, require a special permit where the recipient is extremely well vetted, in my opinion. Yeah, this sounds like somebody that's definitely going to win over hardcore MAGA Trump supporters, right? To be precise, I mean any semi-automatic gun with supersonic ammo and a large magazine. The guy doesn't know what the definition of an assault rifle is, clearly. But this is your pro-MAGA conservative that is going to, win over Trump supporters, right? He's going to take Trump supporters away. Now, I think that this probably likely appeals more to center-left Democrats. As I keep telling you, that is who he's actually going to be appealing to, okay? I'm telling you, Elon Musk has been a Democrat his whole life up until recently. So naturally, any candidate that Elon is going to support probably is going to be more center-left. They're probably going to appeal more to Democrats, okay? And at this point, the Democrats, they're on the verge of becoming a far-left party. MAGA is actually a moderate party, okay, despite people believing that MAGA is far right. No, MAGA is not far right. MAGA is actually a moderate party. They have center-left people. They just don't hate Trump. So who is Elon actually really appealing to? He's appealing to center-left Democrats that hate Trump and never Trumpers. That's his base. That's the base of people that would support an Elon Musk party. This is basically No Labels 2.0. And No Labels decided, nah, we're not even going to try to get involved in this election. Well, why? Because they know that's not a broad coalition. That's not a broad coalition. Not broad enough to win elections. So, again, I personally believe, my gut feeling tells me that Elon, because again, he's not the most politically savvy individual out there, does not understand that moving forward with his party quite possibly could result in it backfiring if his goal is revenge. Because if he really was about, well, I just want to stop the spending, then he probably should support the Libertarian Party, right? And try to get some libertarians elected, because they actually would ideologically align with that. The fact that he's not supporting the Libertarian Party kind of tells me that it ain't really ideological as much as it is just about him and what he wants, okay? And what he believes Congress should be doing, right? The policies that they should be enacting. Elon got a lot of money, but he doesn't have the power and control that he wants. To accomplish what he's trying to accomplish, you're talking about going to Mars and doing the things that this guy wants to do, which I think are admirable goals. I support his goals. You need more than money to do that. You need power. What Elon is seeking is power. And his lust for power, honestly, I think could possibly be his downfall if he doesn't course correct soon. Because he's going to find out that he may be the world's richest man, but the U.S. government is the most powerful government in the world, and no amount of money can save you from the U.S. government that on both sides of the political spectrum could now possibly turn against Elon. If Elon was smart, he should have took a more George Soros type of approach, be a shadowy figure in the background, and supported JD in 2028, because JD probably is going to be more aligned with Elon Musk's techno-libertarianism that he claims he believes in, right? I think that JD probably would have been somebody that would have been easier for Elon to work with had he just exercised some patience and some savviness. He could have went about this in a way in which in the long term he gets what he wants, but because he doesn't really seem to have much self-control and most importantly patience, he's going to find himself in a really, really bad situation for himself and his companies, and he's ultimately going to kneecap his ability to accomplish the goals that he claims that he wants to accomplish for humanity, which, you know, that's the sad part about it, because ultimately today, I want to see humans go to Mars. I want to see humans become multiplanetary. I think that would be cool. I think that would be an amazing thing for humanity. I think the things that Elon is doing, some of the things his companies are working on is amazing for humanity. So again, it's just sad to see that because of his thirst for power and control and revenge, that he may ruin his opportunity to accomplish those things because he's thinking too short term rather than thinking in the long term, because he could have went about getting more of that power control that he seeks. He just had to have a little bit more finesse with it. He's trying too hard to openly buy politicians and to openly buy elections. And you're never going to win doing that, right? Because people are not going to accept that. They're not going to ever get behind a billionaire just openly buying elections. President Trump has the heart of the people, and you cannot buy the people with money. You can't do it. You cannot do it. And I think he's going to find out the hard way, and he's going to end up pissing a whole lot of people off, and he's not going to have any friends at all, which again will be his ultimate downfall. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.